I have 7 o'clock. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, welcome to the December 9th, 2024 board meeting. Last one for the year, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, Clear Creek Conservancy.
Wayne Kelly, 282 Patriots Landing. The only thing I've got is, we thought we might have to let the lake down to seal the spillway, but that water, we didn't get any rain. The lake was down about 5 inches, so we got the spillway sealed for this year without having to us do anything, let Mother Nature take care of it.
All right, good.
You want my siltation?
Sure, go ahead, since you're standing.
Yeah, okay. We're not having meetings till March. We don't do anything in the winter except plan for the next year. But I do have, we've got 7 members on the siltation committee. One of them is health-wise cannot attend the meetings. We lose another one in March, so, but I have a person that came to the last siltation meeting and has sent me texts wanting to know what he can do to help. And I'd like for the board to appoint Greg Current. He's building a new house. Greg. He's building a new house in Patriots Landing. He's living with his daughter right now, but till he gets the house done, I'd like to have him appointed to the siltation committee.
I move to appoint Greg to the siltation committee. Second.
All those in favor? I guess you never made the wanted list, huh? All right, good. Yeah. Floyd Township Fire Department.
Jeff Brooks, Floyd Township Fire Department. We had 32 runs in the month of November. That's 342 runs year to date, which is compared to 281 runs year to date. So we're 342 to 281, a lot more, about 25% more runs. The Fillmore Fire Department on the 21st of this month from 7-11 has their their monthly Saturday breakfast, and Santa's gonna drop by for a quick visit. He's gonna bust out, go take a good nap, and 4:30 he's gonna be riding around Heritage Lake on our fire truck. We've been asked a lot of questions about that, so Santa's gonna be riding high for it.
What day is that?
That is the 21st,
Okay.
Saturday the 21st. He'll be leaving the station about 4:30. I've had a lot of calls about toys being dropped off at the station, and we've had a lot of toys dropped off at the station, and everyone's welcome to drop off toys. If you can't drop them off because you're busy, not able physically, or just lazy, you can always call the fire department, and we'll send a firefighter out and pick them up for you. That's it.
Thank you.
Nothing I'm aware of.
Dental report, neighborhood watch, HLCS,
No report.
no report. Donna McKinley, Hellneck.
Yes, Donna McKinley, 238 Mill Springs, and I just wanted to let everybody know we had our pictures with Santa last Saturday, and it couldn't have gone better. It was absolutely a wonderful day. It was exhausting trying to entertain those little kids when they came in, but we had a little elf that kept moving around, and they always noticed, and I learned so much about elves that I didn't know before Saturday, so it was just a really wonderful day. And I want to thank the community for their response, because it was really great. The pictures are going to be posted on Facebook, the Hellneck Facebook page, in about 2 weeks. So people that didn't hear that instruction while they were there, I think we caught everybody, but just be sure to either call if you have any questions or download it directly from Facebook. And again, we had a really good turnout, and we were busy pretty much from the time we started to the time we ended. So thanks again to the community. The only other thing I want to say, we have a welcome aboard coming up, and that is for new people who are moved to the lake during 2024. And they're still trying to finish up some of the listing from October and November for new residents. And if you know of anybody that hasn't received an invitation by next week, please give one of us Hellneck members a call, and we'll make sure they get an invitation. And I want to thank the office personnel as usual. They have been tremendous in helping us get the names and addresses for everybody who is new to the lake. And again, I want to remind everybody, it's by invitation only. There is a capacity limit. It's going to be at the Activity Center on January 25th from 2 to 4. And we are limited a little bit, so we're asking folks to please pay attention to the invitation only part of it, because it's really important that we not exceed the capacity. And again, we're going to have some vendors there, and we're going to have a lot of information about the committees and what goes on out here. And Rick will be there to let folks know about HLCS and some of the other things going on at the lake. And I also want to thank Rick in particular for helping out with all the logistics again on the welcome aboard event. Between the board and Rick and everybody, it's just been wonderful working with all of you, and Hellneck really appreciates all the help. The only other thing I wanted to mention is we're always looking for new members. It's a very busy committee. I'm not gonna fool anybody. We'd love to have you come and join us. Our next meeting is January 8th. We have the conference room here, the small conference room reserved for 7 p.m., January 8th. And, but please give me a call before you come, because sometimes we'll Zoom if the weather's bad. We have a lot of people on the committee that also work full-time, and sometimes they're unable to make it down here, so we will Zoom from wherever they're at. Sometimes we even do it from if they're on vacation. We had one person Zoom in from Florida. So it's a pretty unique group, but again, it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it, and giving back to the community just is such a wonderful thing. So if you know of anybody who's interested, you can give them one of our names or just have them come to the meeting. But like I said, just call me ahead of time to make sure, and I'll put you on a list to get a notification of when the meetings are. Usually it's the first Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock here in the conference room. So thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Security report, Sheriff Law. Sorry, did I get you uninvited?
I'm sorry?
I saw your phone, ring. Maybe you got buzzed.
Two documents that I have for you there. The one is the run calls for this month, which is good because they're light. Looks like only 25 calls for service up here. 9/11 hang-up, 2 administrative calls, civil matter, fraud and deception call, intrusion panic alarms, 7 lockouts, and public assistance. I know that that'll probably go up with weather changing, but overdose and poison, structure fire, suspicious activity 2, traffic crashes 1, that's good to keep low, trespassing unwanted persons is 2, and then warrant, paper service or search warrants was 4. The November month, the traffic stops was really low. And Chief Sutherland, who couldn't be here tonight, he's having his birthday dinner with his family. Had a conversation with some deputies and set out to up that this month. And there's been 14 traffic stops in the Heritage Lake just this month. So nothing really as bad as one of our deputies got. That was an expensive ticket, but he was just passing someone, so it can, how bad can it be, right? But
Get around quick.
but no, there is definitely, they definitely worked the area to get 14 stops here in just the first week and a half. So continue to try to do that the best we can.
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, Facebook was abuzz with your presence out here.
Really?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, everyone was commenting on it, so it's greatly appreciated by the community to have that visibility out here.
Yeah, I think Tom told you, the chief did last month, we've got 2 new deputies coming on board the department, totally new spots. That's gonna free up some, still our run calls. If you don't follow us on Facebook, you should, right there's your ad, but we do a monthly toll on there, and it's really interesting to me, I think, coming in, just 2 years into this executive position, but see the amount of those fluctuation. And we don't reach back and look at 10 years ago, but we had over 100 accidents last month, and it really adds up to, when you're covering all 4 corners of the county, really spreading this out pretty thin, but we're doing the best that we can. And I know that, like I said, Chief will be here next month again, but he put it upon himself to make sure that that happened. And I would like to rather be a trickle than they came here 1 month and now they're, our grants, I push for these extra law enforcement grants, and we've got them. We've got 3 types. We have the school bus grant, which we can work up here, and we will, because we work it everywhere. And it ended up with over 90 school bus arm violations. That's too many. And so it's driver inattention, I guarantee it's the phone. But we have that grant. DUI patrols, we work them all over the whole county. They don't tell us where we can and can't do it. The speed one that I would love to use up here, so that's the state paying our guys overtime, because it takes them, so they're not taking calls. They're not taking all these other calls that, 12,000 homes in the county we give 24-hour service to. They're not doing that. They're actually, this is what they're out doing. And I'd love to send them up here, but the latest grant that we got, or the one that they've already done, it has to be a 4-lane road. So it's got to be US 40, I-70, blah, blah, blah. So we don't get to use it up here. But also, and that's what we can do, and we'll continue to try to do that as much as we can to get that service up here. And then the other sheet that I passed out is a law that they passed just last year. I recently worked with Van Bever Lake to come up with their own police department. And it goes through the conservancy. So I don't know, I want to make sure that you guys got this in your hand and that you can see it, and I'll leave this with you when I get done. But just last year, you couldn't do it before last year. But I think what we saw in Indiana, and we had some pretty good legislators that, don't repeat this, but did some good things with this, and that is, I don't want to give them a false sense, but we had these lake communities that weren't quite municipalities to have their own departments, and but there's, like we have here, this consolidated homes, right beside each other that do need law enforcement service. Okay, so without a municipality, they still give it to the conservancy. So like Van Bever is not Van Bever POA that has their police department, and I gave them a car, and I gave them a radio, and I train them for free, and I'll do anything I can to help them, because they really help us out, as they would here, because it makes them stay here, It would be like in Van Bever, they stay there. So here's a way to do that, and it was passed, and in July of last year, you couldn't do it before, but you can now, so you guys can noodle on over that, but that is another way that can help out, not to shirk our responsibility, but I also see it as a force multiplier that the military calls it. Anytime we can get something like that, we'll do anything. I'll give you a car, a used car like I did them. We'll rotate one through, used radios, anything I can do, because it helps out. These houses are so close here compared to Bell Union that I think you would greatly benefit from it. If you choose to, there's lots of avenues. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Appreciate it. Again, thank you for the support.
Yeah, we flipped around Friday and went and thanked Levi he had somebody. No, I did the flipping. But he had somebody stop at the marina, and I asked him he was driving, and I asked him to back up, and we went and pulled up beside him, and I thanked him for being out here stopping people, so.
I think one of the other things too, and get off of this, and thanks Ken, but I think the last complaint we had wasn't they're speeding around Heritage Lake. It was, here's the hills, here's the roads, here's the time of day, and I told the guys to hit those, and they did. You know what I mean? It's more, because I think with deputies, we got the best deputies in Indiana. If you just say they're go to Heritage Lake, they still need focus, right? They're like beagles. They're going to need a focus. But if we give them specific things to do in specific areas, so if you do have complaints like that, just give as much information, especially time of day. It's kind of like deer hunting, right? You can sit in that stand all day, but 4 to 6 is probably when you're going to see that buck come through. And same thing here. So if we can get as much information as we can, and always by the school buses.
I just shared a map with him that I once had that identified certain spots that was a great place to just sit and run traffic. you know, what I did see, albeit I'm not complaining, but they, majority of them focused on the dam area. It's a street. But there are a lot of,
That was one of the complaints we got.
yeah, and when people are out walking, there's no place for them to get off the road because there's guardrails on both sides.
I think
but-
it's the most open place you see.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
and,
they just
and,
hammer that.
yeah, and you got a good place to set on both sides, but, on that map that I showed him today, I could identify 10 other places that they could sit, if any of them care to ever see it, call me and ask me. But, you know, it's early in the morning, people going to work, it's construction workers throughout the day, and it's people coming home from work.
Yeah, and again, if you ever want something like you have with Brian Helmer, I got 2 deputies that would love to come up for extra duty like you have with him and do nothing but speed, if that's what you're interested in. We reached out, they reached out to us, but we worked with both the hospital for a similar deal with a contract, and when I came on here, I know there wasn't a contract beforehand, and you and I spoke about that. The attorneys and everything the way it is now, it's an easy contract, but we could easily do that, and it goes through their normal pay, goes through the county auditor, and that would be specific for certain areas and certain times. And they wouldn't be marking on here and eating at Pizza Hut. I mean, they'd be up here doing, you know, the things like that. Like we did with the hospital resource officer in South Putnam, we picked that up the same way. So I have a pretty good working relationship with an attorney that gets paid pretty well. And he works out some really nice contracts, and I think we can do that in the future if any of you are interested in bringing that back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Sheriff. Presentation of agenda, everybody okay?
Yep.
Okay. Take a motion to accept the November 11th board meeting minutes and the November 25th operation meeting minutes.
Motion to accept both meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Treasurer's report, Dennis?
All right, total income for the month of November was $93,852. We had expenses of $118,990, which, we had negative net income of $25,138, which is a seasonable thing. It's typical for this time of the year. Year-to-date, total income was $1,773,950. Total expenses $1,766,123 for net income year-to-date of $7,826. In terms of cash on hand at the end of the year, we had current cash of $179,349. We have investments of $219,470 for total cash available at the end of the month of $398,820.
Hope you like the parking lot. All right, let's go into the committee reports. Dennis, you're up again.
Okay.
A&E. How'd you do that?
I don't know. So for the month of November, the A&E committee approved one new dock, a new dock with a boat lift, 7 new houses, 3 non-waterfront fences, a detached garage, and 1 addition. That's it.
Okay. We'll move on down to the government committee. I don't think we have a report, do we?
No report.
Okay. Lake committee, I'm assuming we have no report. Clean water, no report. Long-term plan, this is the time of the year, no report. Siltation, we've already had that report. Election, no report. Those of you who are unaware, we have 3 spots open on the board. We have 3 people running for the board. There will be no, we will save the community's money, and we will have no election this year. Those people will be announced in the January meeting. They will be in the highlights with their bios in the January highlights, and we will welcome them in February at the annual meeting. Manager's report, Ken?
All right, bear with me. I've got a two-pager tonight.
Uh-oh.
As a reminder that the office hours for the holiday, the office will be closed on December 18th and will reopen Monday morning, January 6th. Voicemails and emails will be periodically checked for any immediate attention. The new maintenance mowers will be purchased in the 2025 budget. The warranty has currently run out with the ones we currently own. I received more money for these mowers by selling them ourselves versus a trade-in value. Per approval, I have sold one 72-inch cut for $5,000. Sold that today. I have another 72-inch that will be for sale for $4,000 and a 52-inch cut for $2,500. In case anyone is interested. If not, we'll polish them up, put them online for sale. These are Gravely mowers, and if you're interested in either one of them, please contact me. Last month, I reported the scheduled date to repair our emergency siren. That did not take place. Rest assured, the repair has been taken, and it is fully functional. This winter, we are currently remodeling the restrooms at the activity center. We will be adding 2 new restrooms for the indoor use only. And the original restrooms will also be remodeled and will be accessible from the outside only. So please excuse our mess. This will be a nice touch to our current remodel project we completed last winter. Our financial numbers for Psalms Haven year-to-date through November are $83,232. Prior year through the same time last year was $77,590. That is a $5,642 gain over prior year. Today I just spoke with someone regarding the unbelievable importance of many people around this community that volunteer their time to make a difference in whatever level of their interest may be. I would like to recognize these women and something written from the Garden Club, a club that has always been behind the scenes and are solely responsible for all the flowers, the plants on common property during early spring and throughout the summer. As they have decided to dissolve their official club, these women will continue to beautify our community as long as they physically can. So here's the letter I'd like to share and recognize these ladies. First, there would not be a garden club without Audrey Birchman. Way back when, she and a few friends met in Audrey's home to share friendship and gardening tips. As their friendship and interest in gardening grew, they decided to form a Heritage Lake Garden Club. Their original charter with their names is on display in the hallway of the clubhouse. Article 2 of their charter reads, 1, to beautify the Heritage Lake community. 2, to promote interest in all types of gardening. And 3, to stimulate interest in design, ecology, and conservation. Besides Audrey, members who have made an impact and contributed to our club growth are Gloria Smith, founding member. The club would not have been the same without her. Donna Floyd, Connie Mitchner, Joy Mackey, Maria Goings, Donna Wilson, a master gardener. Her gardens were the envy of the club. Peggy Scotton, it was Peggy who inspired the pollinator garden. Lisa Helderbrand, Lisa maintains the cypress bench and glider for all to enjoy. Carol Forbes, Julia Prather, and master gardener Ruth Everts. Past presidents are Linda Lawler, and Anita Johnson. Anita was vice president when Linda needed to step down. Anita became our president and served for 3 years. She also holds the title of Master Gardener. Kathy Reedy has also served as treasurer. Marianne Novak served as a secretary twice, and Valerie Beeler has served as vice president. Linda Forsgren has served the club as secretary and also writes the monthly blog for the newsletter and has served as president for 2 years. These members and other maintain the community flower boxes, clubhouse garden, marina landscape plantings, and pollinator garden. Even though we are ending our formal charter as a garden club, we are no less dedicated to the original objectives as stated in Article 2. From me, please, if you have the level of interest and the time, make contact with Lynn and let these ladies show you the ropes so we can continue this passion. And Lynn is here in the audience with us, so I'd like to say thank you for all you have done. And that's it.
Thank you, Ken. Love to see some young, vibrant flower growers out there come to the forefront and keep this on going.
You don't want my maintenance guys taking care of the flowers, I'll promise you.
Okay, old business, A&E fine language, Dennis Barrow.
Okay, this is not new business to the board. We reviewed this in detail last month. None of the language has changed other than the A&E committee did include a definition of a stop work order, which was requested by the board. And also the board requested that in the future that they include a copy of the new fine structure anytime someone submits a request for a permit. So they're gonna get a copy of these so they'll know what the consequence will be if they don't follow the rules. So that said, this has to be voted on twice. It was voted on last board meeting, so it's up for a vote today.
I'll take a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. 2025 budget. I'll take a motion for our second vote on the 2025 budget.
Motion to accept the budget.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous? Yes. Court complaint update. The only thing I really have to report is that our attorney was out of the country for most of November. He had told the judge that he needed 45 days before he could submit the specifics on what we were asking the judge, and those specifics have to do with voting procedures. We have received notification from our attorney that he has approached the judge for a little bit more time because when he got back from out of the country, he was bombarded by a couple big clients that had some things that he couldn't avoid. So we're looking at probably submitting to the judge somewhere in the neighborhood of the probably middle to end of January. So once those are submitted, I would suspect early spring for us to get a ruling or any type of redirection. New business, 2024 write-offs. I'll take a motion to accept the only write-off we have for Heritage Lake for non-payment for assessments. And what is that amount?
$230.88.
I'll make a motion to accept.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a note to those of you in the public and those of you in the meeting tonight. Years ago, that figure used to be in the thousands. many thousands.
16,000.
And over the years, our management has taken upon themselves to logically go out there and say, we have assessments. You own property here, why aren't you paying them? And the girls in the office diligently go after those assessments. And to come from 16,000 to 230 is quite a feat. And not only that, think about all the phone calls that are made, the letters that are sent out. People get upset when they get a letter for anything here. But think of all the work that goes into collecting this money for those massive assessments of $300 a year. Okay. Next, we have the variance report request. Dennis?
MS 151. There again, this variance request is not new to the board. We discussed this in detail at the last board meeting. And I won't bore everyone with all the details, but long story short, the owner at Mill Springs 151 submitted a plan for a dock. It had to be modified because it didn't have sufficient setback. Long story short, they ended up reaching a compromise for the construction of the dock, and the builder did not build the dock according to the compromise drawings. What is really the issue here is that the overhang on one side was supposed to be 1 foot, and it was built to be 32 inches. And the owner is requesting that we accept a variance and not require that builder to adjust it to what was approved.
Anybody in the audience have anything to say about this? Okey dokey.
I do. I don't think 32 inches is enough to argue over.
We're not arguing.
I would say you screwed up, but I think it's okay.
Okay, we're really asking anybody in the audience that has anything to do with this variance, if no one's here that represents the variance, the question to the board right now is, I will.
Yeah, I would say the question of the board is, do we want to accept the construction, although it wasn't to the approved drawing, to accept the 32-inch overhang, or do we want to accept that as a variance or not? And the consequence would be that the builder would have to adjust that overhang to the 12 inches that was approved.
Any discussion?
Will there be a fine?
Yeah, he's already paid a fine.
Yeah, he's already paid a fine.
So, if you guys, real quick, Exhibit 3, I feel like it really kind of spells it out, but as Dennis said, there was supposed to be a 10% setback, which is 8 feet, from the side of the property line to the beginning of the dock. On Exhibit 3, from that stake to the dock, that's 8 inches. So that's when the adjacent neighbor kind of raised their hand and said, hey, something's up. So that's when a compromise was made. So while 32 inches might seem, hey, you know, that's not a whole lot, you know, 22 extra inches or 20 extra inches. When you couple that with the fact that it's already built on top of the property line, that's why the committee was really concerned about the additional overhang. Also, that additional overhang starts becoming a covered dock, which is also not allowed. And then finally on Exhibit 4, the opposite side of this exact same dock has a 19-inch overhang, so it's kind of asymmetrical, so very asymmetrical anyway, so you kind of take that as you will, but I'm not trying to say there was an intent or anything, but for one side to be considerably larger than the other, might take it into consideration.
Does the 19 also have to be trimmed?
No.
If we deny the variance, is the 19 have to be
No, it
trimmed?
does not.
What does the neighbor think?
The neighbor of 150, he was happy with when the plan called for 1 foot.
Right, and now.
I have not personally contacted, do you know if A&E has contacted the neighbor?
Just for what it's worth, we did find out that there was a contractor that lives out here, was asked to do this project. And the project she asked him to build, I spoke to him myself, and he stated that he would not do it because what she wanted him to do wasn't allowed. And so he told her he wouldn't build it that way, so she chose to get somebody else, I guess.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, they built it, then came to an agreement where it's going to be a different, or a kind of a variance that they agreed to, and then they didn't build it to that spec either.
Right.
Okay.
I move to deny this variance based on the information we have.
Second.
All those in favor of denying the variance?
Abstain.
I'm on the A&E committee also, I'll abstain. The denial is passed.
Maybe.
Rick,
Did you vote?
I think,
voted against
I would
it.
say, just to summarize, unless Curtis wants to summarize. Just to summarize, it really comes down, it doesn't, the amount of inches, we're not nitpicking here. What we're nitpicking is, somebody comes in, has plans approved, build the plans. If you don't build the plans, somebody's gonna see that you didn't build the plans, whether it's a neighbor or whoever it is, and they're gonna bring it to our attention. That attention came to the homeowners, and they just thought, well, we'll get a variance. The variance starts really when you submit your plans. If your plans adjust from rules, that's when you should submit a variance and give a reason why you want a variance. You don't apply for a variance because you built whatever you wanted to build. That's the point, right? All right, let's move along. Last thing on new business, December operations meeting for the board. We will have an executive meeting tonight to discuss a few private situations for the year end of the board. The December schedule operations meeting would fall on the 30th of December. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. This is totally up to you guys. At this point, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of agendas, but I'm asking you, do you want an operations meeting, or do you want to run into the January board meeting?
We do an email?
We can, it's up to you guys. I think this is time of the year that we kind of give you a little bit of respect. You're all volunteers, you've got families, you've got obligations, and, another meeting is another meeting. I don't see a lot of things on our docket right now. Coming into January, we'll probably only talk in the board meeting about things that are gonna happen for the year-end meeting coming up. So, unless anybody has any objection?
I propose we cancel the meeting.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All right. There will be no operations meeting the end of December. Meet you at Walmart. Okay, we're now at the open forum. We ask that you state your name, your address, and your concerns. Yes, ma'am.
Diane Helper, 309 Gettysburg. When we were at the courthouse for the hearing, that was November,
October.
okay, the end, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Your lawyer said he wanted the extension so that he could bring in, and these are I'm sure this is the word he used, options for the judge to consider.
Mhm.
So now they asked for, and were granted, another extension. We'd like to know what has changed or what the new options are he wants to judge to consider, or a definition of options so that we know what's going on. Is there somewhere we can get a hold of that information?
If you, I'm sorry.
I've contacted the courthouse a couple times, so,
If you read the complaint, there are two options at the end of the complaint.
yeah.
If you read those two options, what the judge is waiting for right now are specifics that have to do with both those options. In other words, the judge wants to know what see him make a ruling on. Specifically, the voting quorum, the change in who receives, who lives at Heritage Lake and how many votes you will have. And beyond that, it has not been decided because our attorney has not given us the draft. Once we as a board receive the draft, we will okay whatever it is to go to the judge. At that time, we will make sure that our website will have that information on it once it's submitted to the judge.
So it's just.
In other words, you will get all specifics going to the judge for whatever we want the judge to make his ruling on.
But as far as you know, right now, it's just those two.
Those two are the
details,
specific
right?
items we're talking about.
Specific,
Uh-huh.
for right
How are
now.
we gonna know when you put it on the air? When you put it on your
Yeah,
site?
that was the big question I was
Do you
asking.
get notified when something is put on the website?
We don't get any email anymore, or any kind of notices anymore, which is disappointing.
Well, that is disappointing. I would suggest that I would suggest the first part of January, you call the office and see if we've got anything new on the website. If you have a neighbor that gets notifications, maybe your neighbor can tell you when that notification comes out. The only way we notify anybody in our community anymore is through our website.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't, we used to send out emails, but if you don't get emails, we wouldn't notify you anyway. So,
Can I tag along on that?
go ahead.
Just for your benefit and anybody listening on the internet, if you go to the POA website, which is HLPOA.us, if you go there, scroll down to near the bottom of the page, and you can click on a link there that will let you enter your email address. If you do that, then when the office puts a blog or a news release on the website, you will get notified.
Thank you for clarifying that, Rick. One other thing, I was there, and Curtis was there, we stayed the whole length, so we heard everybody's testimony that your lawyer called, and everyone, maybe with the exception of the realtor, I couldn't say, did bring up the fact that the HLPOA would like to have more finances, and it was clear they would consider raising our assessments. So that, I know that's not specifically what's in the complaint and in those options, but it was clear to me that in the future, that's going to be something that is going to be very seriously considered.
Yeah.
So, I know it's not part of this current, change of covenants, apparently, but it's, as a result of the change of covenants, it could happen
Easily.
more easily. And that's, I think, what people need to know because you all do feel there's a need for that,
Tell 'em what
according
Thompson
to
said.
all the witnesses we've heard.
Well, that's the beauty of it is once, if this passes, the board will have zero authority to do anything like that. It would only be by the vote of the community for anything to, any of the fees to raise of such. So
Yeah.
that's why we're doing what we're doing.
But it's going to take a whole lot less of the PLO members to approve of what you want.
No, not necessarily. Now, when you think about it, if you would like, if you think that your view or anybody else's view is a part of the majority of the community, all you have to do is go out there and campaign for what you would like to see the outcome to be. We are saying you know why we're saying 750 as a proposed title, because we could never reach what the covenants asked us to reach. So you could go out there and get 2,000 people to vote the way you want to vote. We're not stopping that. We're giving you the opportunity to get the rest of the community to vote the way you want any issue to be voted on. That is a democratic way of doing things.
And you know, Curtis and I have been very busy
Let me speak.
doing that a few times, so,
Let me speak.
I,
Now, let me just,
I want to clarify a few things.
I'll call on you in a minute, Curtis. Let me clarify something. Everything was clear in the courtroom. Everything has been clear and above board in all that we've asked the courts to do. If you don't agree with it, that is your choice. And I will have to say that I admire your remonstrating. You kept to the facts and you remonstrated fairly, and I admire your remonstration. Now, there were other remonstrators in the room and also testified that they need some brushing up to do. You should probably have tutored them before they got there, because you did an excellent job. We want to hear why you don't want whatever you think we're trying to do. However, all we're trying to do is give the voting power to the community. Ever since I've lived here, ever since anybody I know that's lived here, the number one thing that we've heard exclamated by members of this community is that the board has too much control. We can do whatever we want to do. And I don't think the board should have ever had the right to build a $1.1 million building without a community vote. But we tried our best to get the community to tell us whether they wanted it or not. That's all we could do because we couldn't get a vote. Curtis, relax. We could not get a vote. Now we're trying. Now we're trying to make the situation more fair so that the community can vote. If we have a ceiling of 750, that doesn't prevent anybody from going out there and getting 2,000. It does not prevent it.
30 days does.
Anything else?
So no, let me speak. I want a chance. I like to
Next.
specifically address a few of the issues
You were
you
next.
said.
Rich Ball, Jefferson Valley 259. Hey Dennis, I just want to clarify, so we got this on the record, there's not going to be no warning letter and no chance to correct the issue before they get fined.
That's correct.
Just want to make sure I understand that. And on, this committee seemed like, or maybe I'm missing it, the Airbnb, what happened to all the talk about all that, and what are we going to do, and it's against our covenants, and it seemed like it just kind of disappeared.
Well, I think at this point, it's been a discussion. We have not had, I guess, the board has not received anything dramatic about Airbnbs. As a board, we have discussed the fact that our covenants prohibits businesses. We consider Airbnbs to be businesses. Therefore, if a business that is titled an Airbnb in the community becomes an issue, we as a board, right now, this board feels that we will contact those people and tell them they cannot have an Airbnb because it is a business. That's how we feel about it right now. We did not vote on it because we don't have to. The covenants says you can't have a business out.
So, okay, so to clarify, the board knows what's going on, they're just not stopping it. They don't, you don't know what's going on?
No.
Yeah, man.
Well, if you,
I'm just saying, it's wrote in the papers and stuff, but that's okay. If you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on. That's fine.
yes, Curtis.
You guys are really fooling yourselves.
Recognize it.
If that's all you're gonna
Curtis
say,
Albert,
hold on.
309 Gettysburg. No, it's not all I'm gonna say. I will tell you a few specifics. I went to that meeting, you know that. Diane and I were the only two that testified, because after 7 hours, most of the people that were going to left, or maybe perhaps in the case of our fire chief, he had to go on a call. I don't know why he wasn't there, because he was there, his name was brought up. But the truth of the matter was, like Diane said, everyone that spoke, with perhaps the exception of that real estate agent, talked about increasing assessments. And that was the main primary thing that everyone said, including our former president, who said that he thought assessments ought to be 12 times as much as they are now.
Sure.
So don't kid yourself. And he
Can I
spoke, he
respond?
was the first one you guys called, and he spoke the longest. And
Can I respond?
yes, go ahead.
Okay, I was there too. And the former POA president
Rick Huddleston.
who made that comment, he misspoke, okay? He thinks that is the value of what our assessments could be.
Should
But
be.
that's the words he chose, but he misspoke. That's the end of it. Now, as far as all of those people who left, you don't know why they left.
know why most of them
We'll
left.
never know why they left, okay?
Yes, I do, because I spoke to a number of them.
Well, if you can prove that, do it, because you're good at a lot of hearsay, Curtis, and I just want to make sure we get facts out of you. That's all.
You're good for a lot of hearsay. In
All
fact,
right.
you're good for a lot of outright lies.
Curtis,
To say that the
Curtis,
census wasn't a
it's
major
over.
factor in it
It's
is not
over.
true.
It's over. Sit down.
See, here's the
If you
reason
accu-
why you guys don't listen.
If
don't
you
even
accuse
pay
me of
attention
being
to
a
what
liar,
you're
sir,
saying.
you better be prepared to defend it in court.
As you said here in this thing, I can accuse you of being a liar and not have to prove it, but I probably can prove it.
Then you better do it, because you're really out of line. Sit down.
You
and
guys
sit
have
down.
not been honest with the people. You have not tried. You've never once tried to reach all of the voters that have put, all the property owners out here. You never once submitted to all the property owners any single vote on your.
Forget it.
You know what I'm
We're
talking
done.
about. You never done
We're done.
once.
We're done.
So don't tell me
Curtis.
how you're trying to work for the people. You're
Curtis,
not.
Curtis. Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Kelly.
Dwayne County, 282. I just wanted to run one thing, siltation, and when you guys are looking at variances on docks, boathouses and so forth, and I know it's been done in the past, the board, if you vote for a variance, you've got to remember that the smallest thing that we've got to get down a cove, to clean the cove out, is Shannon's small barge. And if you let somebody build a dock to where, and we went through this on one here a while back, we went through footage, and from the dock where the guy wanted it to the edge of the water was like 17 feet. But your ground slopes out, and you don't have 17 feet for the barge in that situation, because you can't, he's gonna have to dig out part of the bottom to get in there. So I just wanted to run that by. I know the A&E is conscious of it, but I just wanted to.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Lynn Forest, Green 117 Lincoln Hills. I live across the street from the siltation pond. There is a tree down in that pond, and I didn't know if the board was aware of that.
Yeah, we're aware of it, we're just trying to figure out how to get to it.
Yes. I
I've
can see
contacted
that.
Shannon, see how long his reach would be. We may have to put a john boat out there and cut it up in sections and have a tractor pull it. It's a huge tree and no room to get to it, so,
It's a huge tree.
you know.
It's gonna give some lovely habitat to some bass.
We'll get to it.
Thank you, Lynn.
Is that the East Fork, or?
No, that's the pond behind,
Next month.
yeah, Nick Smith.
Which one?
The pond behind Nick Smith's house.
The one over there by, what is that, 625?
I think they call it Lincoln Hill Pond. I think it's called Lincoln Hill Pond.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We just,
But I know.
we just dredged it 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of
2 years
years ago.
Yeah.
You guys worked real hard to
But
make
I
it
know.
look real nice, and let's get that big tree in.
This East Fork, somebody cut a bunch of trees up along the top of the bank and just fell them, and they keep working their way down. And every time we clean out the East Fork, I have Shannon reach as far as he can reach up that bank and pull stuff down, because it just keeps working its way down.
Donna?
Yes, I'd just like to mention, I want to thank you for bringing up the garden club and recognizing everybody. That was so enjoyable, because I know so many of the people. And I just want to let you know, on a lighter note, Audrey Birchman just turned 97, and she's still very active out here, very active in homemakers. Connie Mitchner just turned 92 last week, and she's still going to the concerts with us. And she's joined Euchre Club,
It's in the water.
Domino's Club, so I just wanted to thank you for recognizing it. And some of these folks have really contributed, and they continue to contribute, and that's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Donna. Anybody else? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? We have a executive meeting, board members only.